Good morning, and thank you for the invitation to speak to you today. Customer segmentation is an important topic for any business, and it's one that I find that does not get enough attention in racing, so I'm very happy that you've devoted an entire day to this, as well as some technology stuff in the afternoon. I run TJC Media Ventures, a subsidiary of the Jockey Club in the United States devoted to fan development. In case you don't know how the Jockey Club is organized, here's a brief overview. The Jockey Club functions primarily as the breed registry in the United States, and we provide some infrastructure services to help the sport function. Unlike our counterparts in most of the rest of the world, we do not own racetracks, we do not set regulations, we do not control how bet taking is conducted, and most of this stuff is left to the tracks and conducted at the local and regional level. That, of course, includes marketing. As a result, it is often difficult to create a unified national marketing campaign or to gain customer information on a national basis. There seems to be a debate as to what business we in racing are in. Is it a sport? Is it gambling? Is it something else? We come from it from the point of view similar to Ladbrokes in that we are really just entertainment. Entertainment that could appeal to several customer segments at the same time. Now, our core betting fan is very well understood in the United States, and he's very well serviced. His, and usually it is a he, interest in racing is also well understood. Typically, he went to the races as a youngster, was introduced to it by his family and friends, and something just clicked. The new and casual or sporting fan is not as well as identified or serviced, and that's where we come in. Now, to take a step back for a second, in 2011, we tapped McKinsey & Company to help us examine the sport and make recommendations on how we could build sustainable growth. Their findings with respect to the brand image were sobering and in line with some of the other observations that were made today. First, the racing jargon is very complicated. Second, we knew at the time that we had taken a hit because the economy had slipped. But we also discovered some more fundamental issues. First, breeding and breeders were leaving the business, and that impacts full crops, which also has an impact on starters and ultimately on handle. Our fan base is shrinking. 4% per year are leaving the business. So that means that by 2020, we're going to be a third smaller than we are now if we don't do anything. And then more than 60% of our fans entered the sport more than 20 years ago. Worse than this, the overall brand perception was very negative. Just 14% of the people surveyed believe racing is for people like me, and only 22% had a positive impression of thoroughbred racing. More telling, only 46% of our fans would recommend the sport to others. They also noted that the distribution of racing on television, online, and off track is too limited. Oops, sorry. 10 years ago, new racing fans who discovered racing on television was 9%. That had dropped to 0% by 2011. Clearly, we have our work cut out for us. McKinsey did note, however, that the core values of racing are still strong. The premier events are still popular. Television ratings and attendance at our tentpole events, which is the Triple Crown races and the Breeders' Cup, have increased over the past 14 years. Over the same time period, our Grade 1, Grade 2, and Grade 3 races have also increased their handle. Grade 1 and Grade 2 have increased by 23% over the past decade. And racing is still extremely exciting. When people are asked about what they liked about the racing experience, they all said a sense of camaraderie at the track, the social aspects, and the chance to win big money. So 2 years ago, we began our fan development efforts, which have evolved into two brands. First, there's America's Best Racing, and second, there's the Jockey Club Tour on Fox. Compared to others, we are just getting started on this, but our strategy is to raise awareness of the sport with our target market and provide multiple paths of engagement using a multimedia platform with these four activities in mind. First, we want to create an audience of fans through racing's competition and lifestyle. Second, we want to stimulate engagement with the audience by providing unique and entertaining content. Third, we want to migrate members of the audience to other parts of the sport, primarily wagering. And then fourth, we want to attract partners to support our big event strategy. For our target markets, we chose the 80 million people in the 18 to 34 demographic, which is the millennial generation. And we also chose sports fans. Now, the keys to success for these groups are, for the millennials, it's all about social media. That's where they congregate, that's where they like to socialize, and we've done a very good job of engaging them there. And for the sports fan, the key to success is to get our message outside of the sport, into the sports portals, into the more of the mainstream media, and meet sports fans where they consume information. Now, one thing I will note, we specifically did not target casino gamblers or poker players. What our research showed was that while they are just as likely as sports fans to try horse racing, they're more likely to lapse after a period of time. Sports fans, for some reason, tend to stay after it as they go on. We also limited ourselves to our big events. We have 5,000 race days in the United States, but we targeted ourselves in the 20 to 30 days of racing where our top athletes compete and they gain notoriety necessary for the year-end award honors. And the following video captures the experience that we are trying to promote. Every time I see that stretch run of California Chrome in the Belmont Stakes, I hope against hope that he's going to make it, but obviously he didn't. Now, more about our two brands. America's Best Racing is a multimedia platform designed to increase the profile and visibility of North America's best racing, with a primary focus on the sport's lifestyle and competition. Now, we focus on the lifestyle side of things to bring in the millennials, the younger folks, and obviously the competition to bring in the sports and the gambling folks. The ABR site goes beyond the entries and results and provides a multifaceted look into the world of racing, presenting both gambling and lifestyle angles suggested by that video. The website helps to bring a day at the races alive to those who cannot get the racetrack. In the first 7 months of this year, we've seen substantial growth, with users growing 144%, visitors growing over 100%, and page views growing 67% from the same period in 2013. Significantly, 40% of our audience is female, and about 40% is less than 35 years old. So we're definitely hitting a new demographic for us. Now, this next generation of fans lives on digital and social media, and we've met them there. On Facebook, we've created a vibrant community that's doubled to about 50,000 people in the past 7 months. And most week, 20% of this audience is engaging with us in some way. To put that in perspective, with American football, it's probably about 10%. American baseball, it's in single digits. So we're doing a very good job of engaging this audience that we've created. We also meet them in the real world. We also meet them in the real world through our brand ambassador program, featuring America's Best Racing promotional tool, or the ABRV. The brand ambassadors are based in 4 of the most popular regions: New York, Miami, Los Angeles, and Chicago. And they've initiated programs to help bring influencers and young professionals to the tracks in these regions. In an era where print media continues to de-emphasize horse racing, our communications team, a joint effort between us and the NTRA, also helps develop stories and engage the mainstream media. They continue to add new outlets as well as deepen relationships with the outlets that they have. The other area for fan development is our investment in television. And this is the Jockey Club Tour and Fox. A quote from our roundtable conference last year perfectly captures what we are trying to accomplish, not just through television, but through all of our efforts. We must look at television coverage as a means to a larger goal, as an ongoing promotional vehicle that inspires passive viewers to become active players who will contribute to the growth and handle. That has to be our mission. This year, more than 45 million people tuned into the Triple Crown races. However, 90% of those people will not watch another horse race, will not bet on another horse race, or will not participate in our sport in any other way. Our opportunity is to capture this 90% of the audience and to make them into more active participants in the sport. To put that 90% in perspective, in American football, there's only 15% that would not watch another football game besides the Super Bowl. So we must work to get some of those folks to become regular viewers and participants in the sport. We set out to build a series that not only brought home some of the finest races to the small screen on mobile devices, but also, as speaker at the roundtable said, balance the entertainment with a sugar-coated pill of education. Our core team is obviously enjoying their day at the races, and they present a younger, more vibrant perspective on racing than has historically been shown. It's faster paced, it's more upbeat, and it tends to move at a much better clip. In the United States, television networks have not historically shown handicapping in connection with their racing coverage. Now, our shows are different. We've embraced handicapping and gambling through the America's Best Racing Betting Challenge, which has not shied away from letting people know that they can bet online, and we know from our ADW sponsors that people are signing up. The ability to more directly connect viewers to the economic engine of our sport is a very important development. The series consisted of 10 shows that were run live on Fox Sports 1, Fox Deportes, and Fox Sports Go, which is their mobile application, and replayed at least twice during the week. These shows were also broadcast in the Middle East through a distribution arrangement with Fox, and so for the entire year, we reached 2.5 million people. We hope to expand upon that audience in the coming years. This year, the Breeders' Cup announced their own series that includes 10 shows on NBC, featuring their challenge series of races. As a result of these efforts, the sport had continuous representation on television from July 20th through Labor Day, followed by big days in September from Belmont and Santa Anita, and today, actually, at Keeneland, before finishing the year with the Breeders' Cup World Championships. We are working with Breeders' Cup to make sure that we take advantage of this opportunity to continue to engage the 45+ million people who watched the Triple Crown. These developments are highly significant. At the time we commissioned the McKinsey study in February of 2011, there were only 4 telecasts scheduled outside the major events. The 22 shows that the Jockey Club and the Breeders' Cup have committed to, as well as the races, the prep races for the Triple Crown shown by NBC Sports Network earlier this year, represent a 400% increase in the amount of coverage we've had since we started the McKinsey study. And we estimate that the total audience for this programming will reach over 7 million viewers by the time it is over. So to bring it all back together, our strategy falls into 5 major events or major activities. The first is audience acquisition. We hope to grow our overall audience in digital and social media to 4 million by 2016, and our television audience to 10 million in the same time period. Second, obviously, we're focusing on the big events, our big stars, and our assets. Third, we're creating more engaging and entertaining content. It's not just about the races, it's about putting racing in the context of pop culture and the larger sporting environment. Fourth, we're trying to develop more partnerships with mainstream consumer brands. And then finally, we're trying to enhance our endemic or industry partnerships. A couple of examples here. One, through one of our sister companies, Equibase. They have engaged in a customer segmentation study of their own, where they have segmented our customers into 3 primary buckets. The first bucket is the fan, the second bucket is kind of the more casual bettor, and the third is the hardcore bettor. We're working with them to develop the fan bucket, and as we do so, they will migrate the fans over to more of the betting environment. We're also working with another of our sister companies, Encompass, to create more CRM solutions so that once we've identified people, we create a path for them to go either to the betting side, to the ownership side, or to just the sporting side of the sport. Now, yesterday, somebody asked me if I thought it was feasible for all of U.S. racing interests to get behind a national marketing campaign. And my candid answer was no, not in the foreseeable future. But we at the Jockey Club are committed to creating and funding a national effort and gaining support, and we're gaining support from like-minded organizations as we do so. Over the past 2 years, we have seen a growing list of supporters that have included the Breeders' Cup and the major racing tracks, and we hope to build upon these efforts as we go forward in the next couple of years. Thank you for your time this morning.